Us here. We are live now. We are. We'll see. We're live right now. So, so we're gonna.
Yeah, I will do the bell.
Sorry, guys. I don't. No one's back yet, but So I think it was black. The screen went black.
We're live now, right?
We are live now, but no one's there yet. So
yeah, well, somebody will be watching the recording, so
sure.
Plug in the battery.
Okay. Yep. So we apologize, and
we apologize to you folks. We apologize to anyone who tunes back in. We're trying to do this so that we can do it live. We have very limited techie skills.
It all out, and it all went awry.
Okay.
I think that's what happened, and I don't think your song was live, so you're gonna have to do another week. That was such a beautiful song, Scott. I don't think that the sound got, so it gives us
I'll do it next week.
It gives us another opportunity for you to do it.
Whenever it fits. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to invite the bell to sound, and we'll get back.
I'm going to share here in a second right now, but what a perfect opportunity for equanimity. Things just go awry.
You gotta let it go.
Just what a perfect. And you guys were having a wonderful discussion and conversation with it. Like things go awry, just come back to center. Just come back. Yep. So.
Yep. So yeah, again, apologies for that. I remember the first time I read this by Thich Nhat Hanh, where he talked about the sutra about the saw. Even if robbers cut your limbs off with a saw, if anger arises in you, you are not a follower of my teachings. To be a disciple of the Buddha, your heart must bear no hatred, you must utter no unkind words. You must remain compassionate, with no hostility or ill will. And then, of course, we had the reading from Luke, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do, as a man is being tortured and killed. And we read this again and again in Buddhist texts. I don't know how often I actually really get it. They speak of emptiness, and Thich Nhat Hanh says that means empty of a self, which means there is no separate you. So all the things that we talk about, politics, race relations, family, friends, enemies, the good guys, the bad guys. If you buy into the Buddhist perspective, and you don't have to buy into the Buddhist perspective, but if one does, it tells us that none of that makes any sense. It's a total wash on all the ways that we think. And I think it comes through in a couple of different ways. I think it comes through in Christianity when they speak of the one body and when they speak of children of God. And I think it comes through, or starts to come through, when they speak in Buddhism of how everyone was your mother. That you could stack up little insects till they were as high as a mountain, and every one of those insects was your mother. And just to your point, Scott, where you're talking about, when you feel, uh, you know, forgiveness or not offering forgiveness, or when you're feeling anger, or when we're feeling hurt. The story, and some of you have heard me tell this story before. Several years ago, one of the hats I wear is a storyteller. And several years ago, I was on the way to a gig, and I stopped at a fast food joint. And I was upset because I didn't pack myself a breakfast. And I know I'm getting an egg that's not a free range egg. And I know that I'm going to get a little bit of styrofoam. And I'm like frustrated with myself for contributing to this. But I need to eat something, or else I'm not going to be able to function here for this gig. And I'm running late. And I'm waiting in line. And I get up to the counter. And the woman working there was just mean-spirited. She was just rude. And I just was like, oh my goodness, because I'm asking for like the egg sandwich without the sausage on it or something. And I feel like, I'm not asking you to, cut off the arm. I'm asking for the egg sandwich. Anyway, and I was getting really frustrated. And then I looked at her again. And she was an older woman, probably in her 60s. Probably her ideal probably in her dream of her life, to be working at a fast food joint in her 60s was probably not the dream. And then I noticed that she looked a lot like my Aunt Mary. And then a little humor came in, because my dad used to talk about his sister, my Aunt Mary, and she was very strict. And he said, if I did, Aunt Mary worked as a bank teller. He said, if I didn't bring my driver's license, I don't think Mary would cash my check at the bank. And I thought this woman's a little bit that kind of personality. And then I thought, well, Aunt Mary and my dad were full Irish. I thought, good chance she's Irish. And then I thought, cousin. And then I remembered, what if she was my mom? I don't mean kind of like theoretical, conceptual Buddhist philosophy. I mean, what if it's true? I mean, really. I mean, not effing around. Like, really, what if this woman was my mother? And I simply don't remember. And neither does she. And this is our one interaction. And I'm treating her like crap. And then I looked, and there was a young man, kind of on the heavy side, African American young man, cooking fries. And I thought, what if that's my grandpa? I mean, really, my grandpa. And then I looked behind me and I saw a guy in a suit. I saw he had the Wall Street Journal in his hand. And I could tell, or I could guess in my prejudice by the way he looked, that he probably had a very different lifestyle than I did, probably voted very differently. We probably canceled each other's votes almost every time. And then I thought, what if that's my little baby boy? What if once upon a time I held him and just looked into his eyes? So that world leader or neighbor or whomever who irritates the bejesus out of you, what if they really obey you? What if they really, really, really were? And I'm going deep into Buddhism here, and then a little line popped through my head. Some guys are at the door and they say, "Hey, Jesus, your mother and your brothers and sisters are out here." He said, "No, they're right here." And then I walked out of the fast food place and I looked at the bush. And I said, "You too." And I looked at the trees and I thought, oh my goodness, we are so, so, so far off the mark. And Jesus and the Buddha were trying to tell us stuff and we ain't getting it. So maybe that's a little piece of equanimity. And you know, I tell that story once in a while. And obviously today I went all the way in. And I felt the way I felt the day I experienced it. I don't live here, folks. I think Mother Teresa did. I think the Dalai Lama does. I think Thich Nhat Hanh did. And I'm pretty darn sure that the Buddha and Jesus did. But I want to invite myself to try to touch that place more. Because then all the crap goes away. Thank you for listening. Give me the space for that one.
So now we're going to have our time for our solo saunter in nature. And if you guys are joining us here, you're welcome to go outside in your yard. You're welcome to keep the tape rolling, if it will, if the internet cooperates. And then we'll come back in about 15 minutes. I think we're getting late. So,
yeah, 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Good. So that's noon. So okay. Yeah, I think that's and we'll have a sharing time. So feel free to go wherever you're called. And if you want to bring something back to the altar, you may.
And folks who are here, you're welcome to take a blanket if you want to go sit or lie down somewhere.
Sure. All right. Peace.
Can you ring the bell in like 2 minutes? Because I don't have the phone.
Sure. Hmm. 780. 849 780. 849 849 780. Do something. Seems okay.
now have an opportunity to share, maybe from our saunter, maybe from meditation, from the silence, from the readings, the talk, anything, or anything else that's on our spirits. And we know the routine. We bow in, and others are invited to bow in as well. If anybody is tuned in again online, you're welcome to live. You're welcome to share in the comment section, and if you do, we'll try to share that. We should check, make sure the battery is still on. And if you're watching the recording later and you'd like to share, feel free, and others will have a chance to read that. So we'll invite the bell to sound and welcome people to share. I think we've done this enough here that you folks all know how we do it. I think the one thing I'll mention is it's nice to have just I know we're running a little over today, but just have a moment of space, at least between the sharings, to soak in people sharing. And if you do wish to not share, if you bow in and pass, so we know that everybody has an opportunity.
So on my saunter, I walk in the prairie south. I usually go north and sit on a bench, but I didn't realize that the back parking lot hooks up with the trail. So anyways, I was thinking about the message while I was walking, and then I was trying to get my body to stiff, and so, but I was thinking about the people I serve in Marion. Very different than Sunbury. Most people are white. There's not much diversity of race. Most people are working class in Marion, and most people are Trumpers, which is very different than me. But I love these people that I serve. And I was thinking about the lesson from Thich Nhat Hanh and finding equanimity. So yesterday I was working on a eulogy for a person I'm doing a funeral who I've never met. Working class, Marion. And one of the things that I could relate to that this person loved was coffee. She loved her black coffee. So do I. I love my black coffee. And you know, the thing about rural Ohio is people give you the shirt off their backs. And she was really, you know, when her daughter was explaining her character, and I'm trying to find good things to put in the eulogy, you know, she's very, you know, home is where her heart was. Even though she lived the last few months in a nursing home, she would open up her home to anybody. She loved having family gatherings at her house, and she collected coffee mugs. Now, you didn't mess with her coffee mugs. There's coffee mugs for display and coffee mugs to drink out of. And her kids would always, you know, say, "Hey, Mom, I'm going to take that coffee cup over there and drink out of it." And she'd throw her in a panic. But, you know, she was really stubborn, and I could see the stubbornness. But one of the things with politics in rural Ohio is they don't feel respected. You know, they think the cities are cultural elites. And now there's someone that's voicing their anger. And sometimes it's really hard for me to see their anger because I have a stepdaughter that's gay, who's all about gay rights and very, you know, feminist. I get it. I get both sides. And I love these people that I serve, even though I disagree with their politics. I'm still called to have compassion, walk in their shoes, and love them. And I don't see the same amount of generosity in my own community and in the cities. like I do in rural Ohio. Yet I see ideologically more about inclusion in the cities, but not practiced.
Hmm. Hmm.
Where in rural Ohio, they're very loving, very hospitable, and they'll protect you to the get. You know, if you're an outsider and you're being squirrely, they will say, "Hey, what are you doing?" You know, they're kind of that. You know, we're going to protect anyone, but if but they're also welcoming at the same time. So I was thinking about that while I was
Hmm.
on my saunter. I was thinking about my body, going, "Man, I'm so stiff. My back's hurting. Oh, my age." So on the way back, I picked up a black walnut, put it in the altar. So I am challenged by Thich Nhat Hanh and by Jesus to find common ground in all of humanity. And one of the things that both the Buddha and the Christ talked about is we're all one. There's no other. And I know Richard Rohr, really talks against dualism and all that. So that just reminds me I still got a lot of work to do.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm Michael, and this fall I get to do these sacred saunas about 3 times a week because we have a men's group, we have a Friday program, and then we have Sundays. So very fortunate, and I'm struck by how each time it's different for me. And today, I was sharing, and I never know how the sharing's going to come out, and that was kind of intense for me to share that what I shared. Um, but then I just went and I laid in the sun, and it's about 60 degrees or 60,
So it's
maybe higher than 60,
yeah, I think
mid
so.
60s
Mhm.
here in Ohio. But the sun, it's a beautiful blue sky, and I just laid in the sun and closed my eyes. And oftentimes I'll focus on a tree or something else. And today it was just the warmth of the sun. And I've been working at, I think in the last couple of years especially, um, integration, the different parts of myself. And I love that the word integrity is linked to integration. And when I was a kid, middle school, high school, man, you'd find me on that lawn chair a lot, just soaking in the sun, working on my tan.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of vanity tied in with that, of course, right? But there was also something like, there was also like the tribe, like that's what my mom did. That's what my sister did. What my sister-in-law did. We all out there with the cocoa butter, and and we're all out by the pool, or you know, and I just like I had this moment, just the warmth of the sun, and you have sort of this reddish. What you see is kind of reddish with your eyes closed there, and it's like it's like a womb for me, and I love that it feels like that still, and it just like my imagination goes this way and that way, and I just get into this total relaxed place, and then memories of Jersey Shore and Myrtle Beach and the backyard, and it's just like, and then you know equanimity, I guess, if I want to do the tie-in, like here's this sun shining on us all, and just wow. And even in October, and it's October, and it's like the sun is giving is like it's like I'm having a conversation with the sun, like, hey, remember that time, man? Remember when we were doing this? I'm like, yeah, sunshine, I remember that. I remember being in the backyard there, and we were, I remember when we were working on, like, um, listening to some ABBA, and da da da, and and it's just like, it's just lovely, and I feel like the blessing of that that work towards integration.
Shannon bowing in. Thank you all for being here on this beautiful day. First, I want to share something about that is the equanimity piece. Earlier this year, our younger son asked me if I'd like to practice Vipassana meditation with him, and I'd never done that. And he was very clear that he can't tell me he's teaching me because he's not that far along. He's not certified in any way, and he just wanted me to know. At the time, he was thinking of doing that, so he had to be very careful. I said, that's fine. I'm going to learn from you on your path. And one of the things he first taught me about Vipassana meditation is this image he learned from a 10-day retreat with Vipassana that he'd gone on earlier this year. And I really love this image. And it's a dove, and one wing represents equanimity, and one wing represents awareness. So when I'm really struggling to calm my mind, he did caution me though, don't get fixated on the dove, you know. And I said, fair enough, that dove is so easy, you know, but that's okay. So I really love that image, and so it does help me to, in the course of my day, like if I'm going to the grocery store or scurrying around getting dinner together or whatever it is, sometimes that's all it takes is that dove, and I take a couple of breaths and like, it's all right, I got the dove. And then the other thing I wanted to share is sometimes I'm just amazed with sauntering or just being out in nature, but especially the sauntering. How you just do not think, you have no way of knowing. I don't have any way of knowing what's going to pop in my head, that I just love it. And the thing that because I'm looking around like I always do, observing things on the ground to bring back possibly, but I don't ever worry about that, and I didn't bring anything. But then I thought of all the things, because my eye went to the tree that Ollie spoke of earlier, and just, I mean, who could not love looking at that tree? It's just a golden glow, the whole tree. But then I was like, see, but you go to the glittery stuff, you're going to the flashy stuff. And all these other beings that are not flashy, they get kind of the short shrift. So then I sat down, because I saw a few rocks, little rocks around the different trees, and I greeted the rocks because they're just so plain. They're not gems, they're, you know, but they're doing they're contributing every day. So then I sit down in my chair, and lo and behold, I start seeing a little movement of these different blades of grass. There's barely any wind, but there was a breeze that came up, like right now. And these individual blades of grass and their role in my life and everybody's lives, every creature's lives, every being's lives, and they don't get any attention. So often we don't pay any attention to these blades of grass or these little rocks. So that's where I really was focusing on. It's awesome. Thank y'all for listening. Shannon bowing out.
All I have to say is that I am just incredibly filled up. My heart is like overflowing with gratitude for this circle and for the wisdom, the incredible wisdom that I am just receiving. I don't even know what to do with it. I don't know what to say. I just am that's it. So thank you.
I'm going to echo what Beth said. I mean, we've been out here since it was a little after 9 when we got here. And it's just such a blessing. Oh my gosh. To be here and with the distractions of the internet going out, and then we're getting a U-Haul pod delivered in Struthers right, like an hour ago. That was why it went out, and I was having to do some stuff online, and so I was, getting pulled into that. But I just set the phone down then and looked up and took a breath, and I could be back here. And probably because we had been here so long, and just, oh boy, leaves coming down all around. It's pretty incredible. Yeah, thank everyone so much.
Share announcements.
So we will be back here in a week. Those of you online, you can join us again for a Sunday service in 2 weeks. We'll be at our home and we'll have a Sunday service there. We'll be back in the park in 4 weeks here online. But if you want to join us for other things online, on Wednesdays at 4 o'clock on YouTube, there's a live Bible study that Michael's leading, and that'll be available on YouTube even afterwards if you can't join at that particular time. So that's going to be happening. And for those of you in Columbus, you can join us on Fridays at 4. Fridays at 4 for another Wild Church experience. You can join us next Sunday right here. And if you want to go to theholynow.org, find out more information about us, get on our contact list, donate to us, that's all available there. So thank you guys so much. And Michael will lead us out in prayer unless he has another announcement.
We give thanks for the voices here, the voices we had online today. Scott's music, the reflections of everyone, Ollie's meditation, Beth Shannon, just their wisdom is, as Beth was saying, just like it is such a blessing, as well as the wisdom that abounds around us. The wisdom of these trees and the grass and the stones and the sun. The wisdom of the ancestors and the spirits that are here with us, of those who are living and those who have moved beyond. We sometimes think of the sacred within us, we sometimes think of the sacred as external to us. And maybe we have those moments when we can hold both of those. And oh, great sacred, residing within us and around us. May we take these experiences and this Sangha those sitting here in Sharon Woods and those joining us through the internet. May we take that and may we continue to grow in loving kindness, and awareness of our connectedness, our oneness. And when we hit those difficult moments that we all hit, may we remember the dove and all else that was beneficially shared with us today. Peace and amen. Hey, Shaw.
Thank you, and thank you, and thank you, you.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.